Greetings all you maniacs of minds and crimes, and welcome back to another Warframe's Ins and Outs. Today we are going to be taking a look at the GOAT, Oberon. Actually in Shakespearean lore he's more depicted as a white stag. Actually I don't give a shit. He's a GOAT. Because he is the GOAT. He's awesome. Oberon is one of those frames that is just good at practically anything in the game. Also, he's extremely easy to build wrong, and I do sort of have a try-hard build. If you've seen my Nezha in and out, you probably know what's going to happen. So, anyway. His passive. Allied pets receive 25% more health, armor, and shield buffs. They also get 1 instant revive per mission. This is cool. This applies to his pets as well. So, I can't actually see the freaking... I can't see Blep's health right now because my recorder's in the way. But if I go down here, he has quite a lot of armor and quite a lot of health because Link armor and Link health and Link armor. And these two stack with Oberon's passive, by the way, which is awesome. Yeah, I only have one Forma into Blep. So anyway, his first ability... Smite. Now, this ability is kind of odd how it works. So, and pause the AI. Critical, are you kidding me? You're going to see this thing crit. Anyway, normally it won't crit. So, as you saw there, it will knock down whatever enemy you shoot and give them a radiation proc and a puncture proc. Let me tell you why this is kind of odd. So, it also somehow does impact damage, but it doesn't show. Now, you notice there's not a lot of damage, but they are all radiation proc, which means they will start attacking each other. Also, that means more damage towards condition overload. Puncture damage also has the benefit of lowering the damage output of the enemy, but I mean, who really cares about that? So overall, this ability is very good for a number of uses. One, it's decent crowd control against heavily armored units because you can go up to them and do a ground finisher and then instantly end them. Two, because it procs radiation, it will instantly turn off ancient healer auras. Three, it will in fact kill most trash enemies, especially if they have alloy armor. At around level 40-ish, it won't always. If you have a really strong Oberon, it just might. So Smite is definitely a good ability, and you should spam it to high hell. Also, the more power strength you have, the more projectiles there will be. So if you have like 300% power strength, I think that's like 15 or 16 projectiles. Or something like that. How many does it actually show how many projectiles I'm firing? I'm firing 12 orbs, and my power strength, I'll get to in a minute in my build. Let me actually check what my power strength's at. I think I have a decent power strength. Yeah, I have 216. So, with 216 power strength, you have 12 orbs. And they will seek out other enemies, and as you saw, they'll impact one, seek out others, and then impact others as well. If there's only one target, the orbs will all come flying back to the same target. Okay, so his next ability, Hollowed Ground. So, I don't know much about plants, but I don't think plants need radiation. So, a few things are happening here. One, this plant material, this weed, this radioactive Chernobyl garden, will remove all negative status effects from you and your allies who touch it. Secondly, it will do radiation damage to enemies that are standing in it. And the more power strength you have, the more ticks per second. And stronger they are. So, it's only doing 6 radiation per tick, but they are getting status proc, which means they are going to be too busy shooting the fuck out of each other to really bother you. Which is really nice. Also, it has some synergies with his 3 and 4, which we'll get to in a minute. I think the 4 synergy I've shown on this channel before, but anyway. So his third ability. Let's get into it. Renewal. This is what makes Oberon really damn good in basically anything that's team play. So literally, when he presses this button, health regen. So that 86 is 86 health per second. Let me actually spawn in an enemy, and I will unpause the AI and make them able to actually hurt me. So you'll see just how fast my health comes back. Also, my Oberon is very fucking look at this. Can't do anything. So you saw how fast my health was going back. Also, when you press 2 and go in here, you and your teammates and your pets get an additional armor buff. For me, it's 432. The more power strength you have, the more armor you get. Very simple. If you have growing power and like 300% power strength, yeah, the armor value you can get can be absurd. I've seen armor values upwards of 1,000 extra armor on top of what armor you have, which means Oberon can make, like, I don't know, a really powerful Chroma Prime that much harder to kill. Why do you think Oberon is so damn good? He literally makes everyone unable to fucking die. Except for rhinos. They'll find a way to kill themselves because they're idiots. All of them. So anyway, the healing pulse will not go out forever. It has a big range, but not gigantic. Also, you saw that I deactivated it. The armor buff will stay around for how whatever duration you have. Also, I have the Phoenix Renewal Augment, which means when you or your teammates, it doesn't matter, takes fatal damage, they'll be brought back to 50% health, and also they will be invincible for like a second or so, and they'll have to wait 90 seconds, which is a bit long, to get that blanket yet again. Not that you'll need it with this build too much against the normal content. This build is just actually unkillable. Also to note, the more allies that you are healing, the more pets you're healing, the higher the energy drain. So having good amount of efficiency is good. Also, necroses. When there's an Oberon on your team, listen very carefully. Don't press 4. Don't press 4. Seriously, your shadow clones drain the poor Oberon's energy so fucking fast that Hunter Adrenaline would not be able to keep up with it. Also, this won't do anything for you. Energizing Dash will not reverse this flow, as you see. It doesn't do anything. Nor does Energy Pads. So, for the love of God, Necroses, you're cool and everything, giving us loot and shit. Don't fucking press 4 when there's an Oberon on your team, for fuck's sake. And don't be all like, but I need my survival. Oberon is your survivability. And also, there's a thing called moving around. Necros is not that weak. He's not fucking Banshee. Anyway, hopefully I didn't blow everyone's eardrums out with that. Maybe I'll edit it down. Anyway. So, Reckoning. Okay, so this ability is really, really cool. So, essentially what Oberon does is he shit whips the fuck out of the enemies. Let me show you. Also, it has some neat synergies with his, too. Also, yeah, I don't have flow because my Oberon build isn't complete. So, it's this. Now, it doesn't do a lot of damage, but it practically guarantees that they're going to be procced with radiation. Also, let me get some energy back here. One shall not judge my operator. He is beautiful. So guess what happens when I do this? No armor. completely gone. And now they're taking even more damage from the grass there. Anyway, there is another thing that this ability does other than removing armor permanently. Yes, no matter what. Their armor will be gone forever. So, yeah, Oberon likes to strip enemies naked. Take that as what you will. Don't judge the goat. Just love him. Any case, if the enemies are procced with radiation by any means, when you use Reckoning, they will send out a flash that will open enemies up for finishers for about like 4 or 5 seconds. So that's neat. Although not really useful. I mostly use this ability as, quick, easy crowd control, or to finish off some enemies, or to strip off their armor. And when they have no armor, they are frail as all hell. Even though I am using the Redeemer Prime, and this is probably the most batshit insane melee in the game. Anyway, that's basically Oberon. The easiest and simplest way to play him is literally build him as strong as you can. Keep your 3 up. Make sure that, no one is doing any shenanigans, and making sure that you are not getting your energy destroyed. And yeah, he's a crowd controller, healer, rips armor off. He can deal okay amounts of damage with his abilities. So you ready for the build? Note, you do not need this amount of investment. Ooh, why do I have that? So corrosive projection will actually help him a lot. It's not needed, but okay. Why did I build Oberon this way? And why do I have 4 form into him? And why do I have an umbral? Because I love Oberon. I love him to pieces. He was my second frame. I love him to death. Not Oberon Prime was my second frame. Normal old Oberon. This build will work on normal Oberon, but you'll have to probably invest some more Pharma. And he's just not going to be as tanky because normal Oberon doesn't have the base armor. Anyway, why streamline and not flow? Because the drain, as I said, is affected by your efficiency. So, in theory, you might be thinking, well, why don't I just put on something like Fleeting Expertise? You can, but I have to do this. Where is Steel Charge? Yes, I put a Aura Pharma into him. So if you do this, but look at that duration. Now, granted, you won't really need a lot of time, and if you want, and this is like a better build just for like Eidolon hunting. Speaking of Eidolon hunting, his augment for his 1 gives him a shit ton of radiation damage, and radiation damage is very good against Eidolons. So if you want to build Oberon like this, you can. You can also just straight up put on flow, which will give him a lot of energy to work with. But in my humble opinion, I think Streamline actually works the best with him. As for auras, you can go with enemy radar. Really never a bad option. It never is. Power donation. Now, you can technically do this, but I would advise against it. And rejuvenation. Will it help his healing? Yes, but you don't really need it. This is so quickly outpaced by Oberon's healing. It will help a little bit. But really, corrosive projection is, again, not a bad option because it seems like it's a good option anywhere. Adaptation makes him functionally immortal. Same thing with Phoenix Renewal. Phoenix Renewal, not required, by the way. Not required. It's the only augment I have of him because it's the only one I cared about. If you don't have Phoenix Renewal, put in there, I don't know, what would be a good substitute here? Just basically whatever you want. Do you want continuity for more duration? This doesn't affect really anything, by the way. He wants more efficiency, so you can, in fact, go for another efficiency mod like Fleeting Expertise, but remember that duration drain is going to be terrible. Flow, not a bad idea. Gladiator Resolve will give you more health. I have Hunter Adrenaline and not Rage because really with this build, it does not matter which one I put on. I think Rage will only give me a few extra. Yeah, it only gives me one extra, so that's not really worth it. Natural talent, completely unneeded, because his abilities are lightning quick. So, if you don't want to do an Umbral build, basically just keep this rule of thumb. Efficiency and power strength are the most important things with Oberon. Screw range, you don't really need it technically, but I would keep it at 100%. Do not put blind rage on him. I know it might be tempting, just don't, because your efficiency is going to go down the toilet, and if you only do solo, then it's fine, but if you are more of a team player, then that's fine. Transient Fortitude is a better option. I don't have it maxed because, well, I would have to farm some of my other frames that use it, and I don't want to do that. I don't want to do that. Adaptation isn't maxed because it doesn't really need to be maxed. Anyway, you might be thinking, well, how tanky is Oberon? How long can he withstand Corrupted Heavy Gunners level 120? How long can he withstand them with his buffs? He's not meant to take a shit ton of damage, but he can anyway. Your main role as Oberon is really just to give the enemies a very bad day. Just proc them with radiation and they really can't do anything to you. And also, you will be getting energy back because of Hunter Adrenaline or Rage. Either one. So, in effect, if you have double Arcane Guardian, or like Arcane Grace. See, these guys tickle. I'm gonna rip their armor off. Oh, I can't. Because I don't have the energy. But I would recommend playing Oberon like you would a squishy frame, because even though he's very, very tanky and extremely hard to kill, especially at any sort of reasonable level, this is unreasonable levels. You still want to try and keep moving. If you have an entire squad of Oberons, yeah, you can forget about dying. All Umbral Oberons with the augment, yeah, there is literally no way you can die unless you are a Rhino player. Or just a straight up idiot. I keep ragging on the Rhino mains. Anyway, that's Oberon, the GOAT. He is fantastic. He really is. Again, he's one of those frames that he's just good in basically any sort of content. He's good at disruption because he can cause a lot of chaos, and that's very nice. He can also get rid of stupid fucking like enemy toxin weapon crap and all that shit that is really fucking annoying. He can take care of that really quick. He's good at Eidolons now because of his augment changes. I mean, he was always good at Eidolons because he was so fucking tanky and made everyone so freaking immortal, and he was just borderline extremely helpful. He can straight up solo Defection. I forgot the name of it because it's such a trash game mode. You only do it for Oberon, not Oberon, Hero's parts. And he can solo basically anything in the game. Oberon Prime is vaulted, sadly, so you can't just run out and farm Oberon Prime. Also, he has a pretty neat... He also has, if you care about Fashion Frame, he does have a nice Tenogen. And his Immortal skin isn't too bad either. And this skin looks nice, but I just kind of like going with this He's also got some other nice helmet. He's got this helmet, which kind of makes him look like a bug, and I don't like it too much. And his normal... This makes him look more like a fucking cow. And that's the normal Oberon helmet, which is hideous. And yeah, he's got some good Tenogen. I don't think his Tenogen is quite as good as some others like Mag. But anyway. I hope you found this video informative all about Oberon. He is a fantastic frame that I feel should be one of the frames that newer players go after, and one of the frames that veterans should definitely have, because he's just good. When in doubt, there's 3 frames I pick for a mission: Nezha, Mag, and Oberon. Why? Because they fucking work. No special gimmicks with them. No real, flukes in their powers, even though some people say that Mag can be a bit tedious to use. No, she can't. She's very rewarding. Oberon will keep you alive, keep your team alive, and make sure that the enemies don't hurt everyone. And also just cause a lot of chaos, which is always good, because radiation's a thing. Anyway, thank you guys so much for watching, and remember, in Joby, we trust.